again. My name is Ruth Dixon, and I'm here to bring you another short message. This is a follow-on from my last message where I said I would look at scripture and look at godly men and women in the Bible and think about how they would behave on social media if they lived in this day and era. It was quite a difficult one. For the men, I looked at Joseph. Joseph was a 17-year-old when his father gave him this flamboyant coat of many colors. And I thought to myself, it's got to be Joseph, because Joseph would have probably been on every social media platform showing off his coat and also talking about the visions and the dreams that God had given him. He was very vocal, very outspoken. You know, what can we learn from that? It brought Joseph a lot of trouble, a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy, and sometimes the things we share on social media can attract jealousy, can attract envy. So I think, you know, we can learn from that to be careful about the way we portray ourselves, that, you know, we're just showing things off. Talking about all the things that God had told him, how he was going to rule over his brothers, how they were all going to bow down to him. And after some time, Joseph found himself in a pit. He found himself in a lot of trouble. And it's the same way in this day and era. If we think about it, a lot of the things that are being posted sometimes can put you into trouble. So we need to be careful about what we share, what we say, what we do on social media. It's a public arena. We can also learn about strength in the place of sensuality. Joseph was tempted by Potiphar's wife in Egypt, and he could have fallen to that, but he decided not to because of the love he had for God. And this is the same way social media is a very central place, especially for the men. You can make that decision to not look at that post or not do what you want to do or what you could do for the sake of your relationship with God. We can learn from that, both men and women. The other person that I want us to look at is somebody from the book of Esther, and that is Queen Vashti. The Bible describes her as a very beautiful woman, and at some point her husband, the king, was having a drunken party, and he wanted to call her to come and display her beauty. I don't really know what those parties would look like or what actually happened during those parties for Queen Vashti not to want to come out at all. She absolutely refused to come out to display herself in front of these drunken men. If you think about it, she wasn't prepared to share her beauty with everyone else. Her beauty was for herself and for her husband. It's just that aspect that I want us to look at of that story, in the sense that though she was beautiful and she could have displayed herself, she decided that she would keep her honor and her dignity. It cost her to do that. Sometimes you're going to have to not do what the world wants you to do, and it will cost you. To retain your dignity, to retain your honor, to retain what God says about you as a woman, sometimes will cost you when you don't want to do what the world is doing. But we can learn from Queen Vashti in that respect, that she wasn't prepared to compromise. To stand our ground when we believe that we're being abused in any way. If you're being, your gifts or your talents are being used for anything other than what God would have it be used for, you can stand your ground and say no, even if it's going to cost you. The other person I'd like us to look at is Queen Esther, but there isn't time for that today, and that will be my next post, so stay tuned. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've been blessed.